Hey y'all, I'm Carolina Tony. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today I am in Kennesaw, Georgia at the Museum of Civil War and Locomotive History. Inside there is the General. We're going to go inside and explore, but right after this station identification. When General William Tecumseh Sherman made his famous march to the sea through the South, he left behind in his wake of destruction something that was known as Sherman's bow ties. And here is a rare find. This is an actual section of a rail. As you can see how it's shaped. They would heat the rails in a red hot fire and then pick them up and bend them around a tree, thus making it look kind of like a bow tie, but also making it so it could never be used again by the Confederate Army. This is a section of a cast iron U-rail. It was used between 1853 and 1869 in both the North and the South. And the center, as you can see, was hollow. And it got its name because it looked like an inverted U. Now after the war, they went to a different type of rail, which was steel. And it's called a T-rail, which is very similar to what's being used today. In 1845, and given its name because of how the top was shaped. And of course, in the early 1800s, they used a flat rail. Here is the original 65th Georgia battle flag. Here are some models, prototypes, or copies of cotton gins. This is the cotton bale baler model. Bale cotton in. And here's a cotton gin. 1890 model. This is a model of a 1867 Pullman private business car. As you can see, down in the car, it is very elaborate. Private car. This is a pattern shop. And what a pattern shop is concerning to locomotives is, of course, in locomotives, everything would be made from cast iron. And to make parts of cast iron, it would have to take the hot molten iron and pour it into sand molds. And of course, to make the part, all these parts were carved out of wood with all the proper fittings and so forth, so that they could be cast into sand. Look at all these parts, all types, little handles, and even a wheel, an iron wheel would have started out carved from wood just like this, and then that would be placed in the sand to make the mold. This wooden gear would wind up iron. That's amazing that all those parts were used to make iron parts. And here's a wooden mold, a wooden pattern.
Other molds are already lined up, ready to be filled with molten steel. Iron and pieces of scrap steel are tossed into the furnace to be melted into new steel. The workers make sure all of the pieces are placed around the two 10-inch carbon electrodes inside the furnace. When the furnace is turned on, an electric current supplied by a large transformer charges through the electrodes. The electric arc between the electrodes generates intense heat that rapidly melts the iron and steel pieces. The steel can be refined while it cooks in the furnace by adding carefully weighed amounts of other elements such as chrome or nickel. A heat-resistant mineral called dead-burned dolomite is shoveled into the furnace to help keep the inside walls and bottom in good condition. A large ladle is connected to the overhead conveyor and hangs just below the furnace door. Then the furnace is tilted mechanically to pour molten steel into the ladle. One batch of liquid steel is called a heat, and no wonder. The molten metal is between 2,850 and 2,900 degrees Fahrenheit. A large ladle is connected to the overhead conveyor and hangs just below the furnace door. Then the furnace is tilted mechanically to pour molten steel into the ladle. One batch of liquid steel is called a heat, and no wonder. The molten metal is between 2,850 and 2,900 degrees Fahrenheit. The spout on the bottom is lined up with the opening at the top of the mold. And the liquid steel is tapped.
There's something else that would be made from hot poured metal statues. We are here in the machine shop of the locomotives. Belt-driven machinery. There's a lathe. Actually showing how they built a locomotive from scratch. Taking all those wooden parts, casting them into metal, and then bringing them into the machine shop to be fine-tuned and then assembled into a locomotive. And all of this machinery was turned by electric motor around 1910.
My grandfather fought in the Civil War. I work here as a machinist. I have to know every machine in the shop so that if they need a part fabricated or something needs to be repaired, I can do it. It takes a lot of skill, but they've trained me well. We make a lot of different things here at Glover, but my favorites are the locomotives. Every one is different, and every one is a challenge. It's very precise work, and it suits me just fine. When they're finished, I know they'll work hard for a long time. We even overhaul locomotives made by other companies. That's how good people think our work is. Last year, I went to Rome, Georgia to visit my brother. They've got a brick company there and uses one of our 040s. I sat and watched that engine pull skids of brick and I felt really proud of my company and the job that I do.
And this is the general that a movie, The Chase, was made about, in which Union raiders tried to take over the train. Okay, the general. I hope you have enjoyed our trip to see the general in Kennesaw, Georgia. If you did, be sure to give me a big old thumbs up. Be sure to tell your family and friends. Until next time, y'all have a good day.